Well, let's get the very latest on the ground in Syria and speak to TRT World's Shamim Chowdhury. She's in the southern Turkish city of Gaziantep near the Syrian border. Shamim, despite the talks, the fighting there is continuing, isn't it?
Very much so, Malene. The Syrian government forces, with the aid of Russian airstrikes and Hezbollah troops on the ground, have been advancing for well over a week now. And they're as close as, some would say, even 10 kilometers from the Turkish border. They have hit one of the most northern cities in Syria, Azaz, but up until now they haven't managed to completely take it over because they have been repelled by rebels who are still in control of it. But this is a very, very complicated war that is taking place not very far from where I'm standing. And there are many groups that are involved, including the PYD, which is the Syrian Kurdish fighter group who have a control of the northwestern corner of Syria. And they have, activists are telling us that they have, in a sense, capitalized on the fighting between the rebels and the government forces by taking territory of their own. And until now, they've taken 3 villages and they've also seized control of an airport in the north of the country, which had been under rebel control since August 2013. So, very complicated situation, very much the fighting, despite whatever talks are going on in Munich, very much ongoing. And an added dimension to this is that the Turkish foreign minister has announced on his way back from Munich that Saudi fighter jets will be allowed to launch from the Incirlik airbase in Adana in southern Turkey, but they will be targeting Daesh. So very much a two-pronged war in a sense going on in Syria, but very much continuing, and certainly the international involvement, it seems increasing.
And what is the latest in the aid situation? Is there enough shelter, food, or are resources now under pressure?
There isn't enough food, there isn't enough medical supplies. The Syrian people have been under siege for a very long time now, and that doesn't look like it's going to end. Of course, the UN has announced that more humanitarian convoys will be entering Syria in the next few days, possibly even within the next few hours. But the people in Syria say that that's not really enough. There has been a trickle of humanitarian aid going in for some time now, but it's not really making much of a difference. It serves as a temporary solution, but as soon as the food runs out, the Syrian people are starving again. And the reason for that is because 18 areas are under siege, and the sieges and the humanitarian aid, in a sense, are one and the same. People in Syria say that unless you break the sieges, unless we are no longer entrapped in these areas, then it doesn't matter how many convoys come in, because the situation will still be the same. So really, without a cessation of violence on the ground, without a ceasefire, the humanitarian aid is only going to go so far.
Okay, Shamim, really good to get that update from you. Shamim Chowdhury joining us there live from Gaziantep near the Syrian border.